Kalimera. That will be my only word in Greek. Sorry, the last time I was in Greece, it was in 1985. I was a student with a backpack and to visit all the Greeks and islands. And now it's the second time. So it has been a long time now to be there. I see some women, I think it's very important in our industry to have some women and to be inclusive. So that's good. Okay, so I don't want to be boring today for you and to speak about busways, too technical. I want also to give you some insight on the data center market in South Europe, because this is my role. I'm leading as a Starline, but also as a Legrand data center solution, the critical power in South Europe and North and West Africa, meaning critical power from medium voltage transformers to busways, encompassing UPSs, bus bars, and that kind of stuff. So we are going to talk about overhead power distribution. That could be boring, but I will try to do it, to do my best to give you a lot of information. And we will talk about reliability, agility, ease of operation, and that kind of stuff. So first of all, who is Starline? Starline has been acquired by Legrand in February 2019. And so it's an old company. It's a US company, has been founded now, I would say, 90 years ago, starting with busbar and power distribution in the automotive. It's a company with a headquarters in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh City. And this is the main factory in Pittsburgh, which is manufacturing all the busway Starline for both Americas, mainly North America, but also South America. The other factory is based in the UK, in Reading. Reading is 50 kilometers west from London. It's a new factory. It has been built in 2018. And the last one is the one in Singapore for the Asian and Pacific market. So very new factories, brand new factories to support our tremendous growth in the US and also in Europe and in Asia. When I joined Starline, it was in November, almost 3 years now. Our revenue was around $150 million, and now we will reach close to $500 million. In 4 years. So it's a tremendous growth in that business. And I will explain you why we are there. It's not just in doing that, but there are some reasons behind to understand and to well understand the market. So I will go directly to the fact, this is our facility. Why choosing Starline open busway? And what is an open busway compared to a closed busway, to a bus bar? You have many track busway as well, many different kind of words. So open channel busway, of course you have the possibility to come on the booth to see some samples, but this is a busway where you can put your tap-off plug in every kind of location. So it's very agile. So we will see that in details. And so this is, of course, very reliable. The former speaker told about the most important criteria for data center. Reliability is still the first criteria. It's not money. First is reliability. And then, according to the amount of reliability you want, you will have a different kind of design. And of course, the budget will be aligned to that design. So we will talk also about flexibility and agility. Flexibility is more how to make a design. Agility, there is some concerns about the time. How much time it takes to have a new row, new servers running. So if you want to do that in few hours or in few days or few weeks, it's not the same design, it's not the same price also. Price is also an important criteria, so we will talk about money, total cost of ownership, not upfront cost, but really total cost of ownership, maintenance, operation cost, and of course the life cycle cost. That's part of the full solution. we will see about some references and why main customers in the world have chosen Starline. And let's start now with some mega trends. I was just telling you that the market is really booming, and booming all over the world, but booming in South Europe. For instance, when I was in another company in 2010, CBRE, you know CBRE company, CBRE Research, they make every quarter a kind of research to say between the FLAP city, FLAP is Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, to see how many megawatt you have in each city, how many take up. And in 2010, Frankfurt and Paris was at the same level, almost 180 megawatt. Then in Paris, between 2010 and 2016, very few projects, very few, and Frankfurt, a lot of projects. So, and we have seen in South Europe, so in West Europe, in 2017, Paris catching up with a lot of new investment, not a lot of new data centers, and now it has started at the same pace in Spain. In Spain, it started 3 years ago. Before that, in Spain, the data center was a corporate data center, 20 racks, 30 racks, not more, but many small data centers. And now in Spain, it's a game changer. We are seeing 100 megawatt data center with, of course, the interaction, the Equinix, the big colo, but not only. We are seeing a lot of US investors with new names that will arrive in Greece. They will arrive in Greece. In the next 2 years, they will be there. Names like DataBridge, EdgeConneX, Theo, Edge Endeavor, company that we never heard before. They are coming mainly from the US. They have a lot of money to invest because data center business is very profitable, and they will be there. So be prepared for that. Market is booming because, of course, we have power densities, new kind of mobile, new kind of application. The average power density now is 15 kilowatt per rack. And we are seeing for finance trading or gaming, rack consumptions around 40 or 60 kilowatt per rack. So, of course, you need more power. Time to market is very important. The previous speakers spoke about how to reduce the time to market. So how to reduce the time to market? You need to standardize. Standardization is the key word. Standardization for a pod, standardization for a full data center, standardization for a UPS, standardization for busway and busbar distribution. Because the customer, they have to run many projects in parallel. They don't find all the resources, all the men and women to carry out those projects. So they want to buy now standard solution and to have the same solution in Paris, in Athens, in Thessaloniki, or wherever you want. Adaptability is key as well. So the solution should be bespoke to customer needs, but also customer could change. You know, yes, I built a room, it was for that kind of customer, but finally another one came, and it's a bit different. So you need to be able to change, to adapt the solution, and not to refurbish the full data center, of course. So let's talk about reliability. It was the first topic of my first slides, as it's still the first criteria for data center. So the Starline solution, open busway, track busway, is a solution reliable by design. Why? Because in fact, it's a kind of Lego. And you build your Lego system with standard bricks. What are the bricks? The bricks are end feed, for instance. End feed are where the cables are coming from the UPS. Then you have the straights. The straights are the bars, open channel bars. You have end caps. You have plug-in units, the tap-off that you insert to feed the rack. And you have a very important piece. I would say it's a key piece. This is the joint kit. The joint kit is the small pieces with the copper blades, because this is the key the key brick to give a reliability to your installation, to your solution. Let's go more in detail. What is the Starline compression design? We have a patent there in the US many years ago because this solution, the first generation of open channel, has been launched in 1993 with the first data center. At that time, we didn't call that a data center. It was an IT room, a data room. It was quite small, corporate mainly or in telecom companies. Data center is quite a new word. And the solution was to have a joint kit, so central pieces there, with no nuts, no bolts, because nuts and bolts, they have the tendency to detighten with the time, detighten with the heat, variation of temperature, and that's not good for data center, because if you need to retighten to make some maintenance, you need to switch off upstream. Ask to a data center operation manager to switch off a pod or some racks. He will say, no, it's not possible. I want my feed A, I want my feed B, always, 24/7. So it's very important to know that with this kind of solution, you have no maintenance. It's 100% maintenance free. On top of that, we use, and you will see in detail, aluminum housing, which gives a very strong rigidity to the system and to avoid any kind of technical issues. Let's go more in detail about the solution. And basically, for the busway, we use this kind of masterpiece, which is extruded aluminum busway. So it's very rigid, you cannot bend it. It's not made of steel or made of plastic. And for the previous speaker, it's made in aluminum. So it's good to dissipate the heat from the conductors. That means that with the Starline busway solution, you have no derating, absolutely no derating, up to 55 degrees Celsius, full load, permanent. So you could install Starline busway system in a cold air or on a hot air containment. It doesn't matter, which is not the case for some other solution you can find on the market. We use a U-shaped copper bus bar inside. They are installed in some insulator, and the insulator are installed in a kind of small housing. You can see phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And neutral. You could have also the grounded, isolated, if you will, as an option. It's not a problem. And what you see, the black piece is, we call that the paddle in English. This is the head of the tap-off that you will insert in the busway. We have no mobile parts. It's ultrasonic welding between the tab and the conductor. So there is no risk to have some pieces, washers, nuts and bolts falling into the tap-off. This solution needs to be very reliable. So in terms of connection, as it's a U-shaped copper bus bar inside, the more current you have, the more electrodynamic forces are applied to the stat. So more current, more the connection is robust. Connection is very important to avoid any issues, and it's good also for the conductibility and the energy efficiency. When it comes to plug-in or tap-off, whatever you want to name them, we have in our database more than 7,000 different types of tap-off. 7,000, and every month we have new tap-off entering in the database. Why? Because the customers, they want new type of tap-off, because they are designed, of course, of the IT, because we follow the IT demand. So IT is evolving, so we need to be there. Now we have some tap-off with 6 MCBs inside, some meters. Tap-off is like 5, I would say, 50 centimeters or 60 centimeters. So we could have small one big ones, with metering inside, no metering, 3-phase, single phase, 2 poles, 3 poles, 4 poles, connectors, KNX inside. Yeah, we can do different flavor of tap-off. When it comes to reliability, all the tap-off that leaves Starline factory are fully tested, 100% tested and guaranteed. So, as I told before, we have very few parts, no mobile parts, no washers, screws, and compared to others, that makes a big difference in terms of reliability. For instance, some others are using joint kit with nuts and bolts. So, and it's clearly, this has been to be torqued, for instance, this one at 25 Newton meter. And if you have to retighten, as I told before, you need to switch off, which is a big problem for data center operation manager. Even in their maintenance or to-do list, they are claiming that if you need to retighten, you need to switch off. It is written in the documentation. So be aware of that. It's very important. The guy who is designing sometimes is not aware of how the data center is going to be operating. Operation needs to be close to design the right solution for the business. In order to increase the reliability, this is an option, but most of the customers now are choosing this option, is to use temperature probes on the cabling, because of course we have cabling, we have cable coming from the big bus bar at the moment, from the UPS. So in order to increase the reliability, we can install some temperature sensors that will give some predictive maintenance if in any case we have to retighten the connection of the cables. When it comes to accreditation listing, of course, Starline is compliant with different type of standards, IEC for Europe, but also UL for North America, CCC for China, and we are using the VDE German labs to certify our products. We have a very important approved certification from VDE related to the live insertion. So VDE stating that Starline solution, you are able, in an energized bus way, to connect or disconnect the tap-off by yourself. So this is why it's a very important added value for operation manager, because when you want to have new racks coming in your IT room, with the legacy cabling solution, you need to ask an electrical engineer to company to come to make a quotation. It costs a lot of money. They will come perhaps in 1 week, 2 weeks. You have to wait. If you have your solution with busway, new racks, take your tap off, insert the tap off, you connect the racks, that's all. So it's very agile. And then it makes a good transition with the flexibility and agility. So you know the traditional legacy power distribution, we use UPSs. We still are using UPSs in the new design, but UPSs are feeding PDU cabinets. Mainly the cabinets are in the IT room, close to the wall. And then you have a lot of cables under the raised floor. And you have some issues with the cooling because of the cable. When you want to make some modification, you need to open the ties. That's not so easy. And you have this kind of problems with a lot of cables, temperature, cooling issues in the data center because of abandoned cables. And that's not so easy, and you have risks when, of course, you need to modify the installation. Human error is always a factor to consider. So it's not absolutely no scalable, no modular at all, and there are other kind of solutions. This is the overhead power distribution that has been raised also by the Open Compute projects association, mainly big companies like Microsoft or IT vendors. And in their report, they say that they preferred overhead power distribution in the data hall because it's easy to operate, easy to see where the current is going. That's much more easier. You don't need raised floor for the overhead power distribution. You can use it, but it's not mandatory. And then it comes to this new kind of design. We get rid of the PDU cabinet. We get rid of the cables. We have only busway, end feed, and tap off on top of the racks to feed the racks with a feed B in red and a feed A in blue. You have more space. You can reuse the space of the PDU cabinet to install more IT racks, which gives more revenue for a colocation company, for instance. It's more efficient. It's more agile. When it comes to Starline range, we start at 250 amp and we can go with 1250 amp. It's the same paddle. The paddle, the black piece there, is the same. You can use it in the 250, in the 630, 800, 1000 amp. It's the same head. So compatibility is 100%. We will get in 2023 a 500 amps range to make the link between the 400 and 630, and that will be available in mid-2023. As I told before, many types of typical plugins with metering, no metering, drop cords, receptacle, fuses, MCBs. We can do what you want according to the design. Just need to discuss together to find the best and efficient solution. In terms of flexibility, it's not all about the products, it's also about the testing. At the end of the day, you will need to test the full capacity of a data center to get the sign-off of the contractor, for instance, or your customer. So we have terminal blocks units. Terminal block unit is a big tap-off like this. You insert this tap-off at the end of the busway just to test all the power distribution up to the end of the busway. Then you have the cables going to the load bank and you can carry out your burning test, because usually in large co-location or on-premise hyperscale data center, you need to carry out 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours burning testing, full load, to see if the data center is really robust. So with this kind of stuff, it's very important because it's very safe, and we will see some details. In terms of different options, we could have some breaker interlock to avoid the people to insert the tap-off switching on. It needs to be switched off, and we have the metallic part to force the system to be switched off before inserting it. And when it comes to the terminal block load banks, we use fast connectors. You can see all the fast connectors. Fast connector is this kind of piece. When you want to test a full run of racks, you have your terminal blocks overhead, the cable, the fast connector, and then you make the running test. Then you can make the opposite, go to the other one, so on and so forth. So it's very fast, very reliable, of course, because if you have to use wrenches after 2 times, it could be dangerous for the people, of course. It's not very agile. Let's talk about money. When we consider TCO, we have to consider CapEx and OpEx. With this kind of solution, installation cost compared to cabling, PDU cabinets, MCB installation, cabling, cable trays. Of course, you need to open the ties of the raised floor. The installation costs are cut by 50%, which is quite a lot. Of course, due to that, and due to the fact that most of the tests are done in the factory instead of being carried out on site, IST, the integrated site test, could be made in a few days instead of weeks or months. Because when you need to test every cable from the PDU cabinet to the rack, it's not easy. In terms of CapEx, you have to install all the busway if you want to be able to to start with new business racks, for instance, but you can buy the tap-off step by step. If you have a 1 megawatt data hall, step one is 100 kilowatt. You buy all the tap-off for your 100 kilowatt, and step by step, you can raise the bar to 1 megawatt. So it's not necessary to buy the tap-off, all the tap-off one day. Of course, in terms of CapEx, the fact that we've been able to get rid of the PDU cabinets, it makes more money from a colocation company standpoint. You can use the space to put racks. If you consider that a rack could be rented 1.5 kilo euro per month, you get rid, for this example, of 22 PDU. You can install 22 racks instead, so it gives you a 400 kilo euro more revenue per year. So it depends. If you are in a city where you have some restrictions on space, that could be a good idea to get the space for the IT racks, for the business, instead of using the space for the mechanical or electrical stuff. For the OPEX, I told you maintenance free, so you can save the money for infrared testing. No need to do that. When you need to connect a new rack, you can do by yourself. You buy a tap-off. In average, a tap-off is around 600 euro. It depends, of course, it's an average. But if you need an electrical guys to come, open the race floor, put new cables, new cable tray, I say 1.8 kilo, I think it's not enough. You can perhaps multiply by 2 if you want to have someone on site to make the job. So there is a lot of difference. This is something to consider. Energy efficiency is better. We use copper. So we consider that for our stuff, you can save 1% energy saving comparing to cable. And no wasting time. It's very agile. IT guys, they can do by themselves. And when the IT guys, they have tried a solution like that, they don't want to change anymore. They don't want to come back to PDU cabinet, cabling, because they want to have a certain amount of autonomy now. And when you see that in colocation business, 85% in the new project that will arrive in Greece in the next 2 years, like they arrived in France, in Spain, in Italy 4 years ago, 85% of the business in the colo are coming from 5 or 6 big US companies. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Facebook, Apple, Oracle. If those guys, tomorrow, they stop to invest in data center, you come back 10 years in the back. You know? But it's not possible because all the corporate are moving to the cloud. The cloud is moving into the colo, into the hyperscaler, Google, Amazon, Facebook, because everything is cloud now. Awesome. So 85%. It's a lot. It's not a lot, it's tremendous. It's a game changer. So what are the takeaways? That will be my last slide. Takeaways is that this kind of solution, overhead, open channel, reduce risk of human error, which is important. You can place your tap-off wherever you want on the busway. You can change. Easy to install, easy to maintain, easy to operate. The TCO is very good because we save a lot in terms of installation cost. We reduce the tests as well. It's plug and play, of course. And something, you have a fancy image with red, blue colors, of course, it's an option, could be painted. But the operation manager, they like to, their data center is their baby, you know, their showcase, they want to showcase. When you have a solution like that, it's easy to see where the current is going, feed A, feed B. It gives a good look and feel to the data center for the customer. It's reusable. I have seen some customer change the bars. You can change the bars, install the bars in a new room. With cables and PDU cabinets, it's a bit more difficult to do. So that's why most of the big customers now, and not only the big, medium one, are choosing Starline for their new data center reference design. Reference, The big ones are the top ones, you know, those ones are 85% of the data center business now in the world. 85. It's a lot. They will be there in Greece with big projects in the next 2 years. Thank you for your attention.